get this thing going.
Yeah. We gotta get the windows closed though.
Yeah,
Oh, we do? Yeah, that's right.
I got this in.
Great job. Dustin, good job.
How's the leg?
Thanks for your help.
Yeah, no problem.
Leg is
We gotta close this one first.
wow, that's a disappointment. They have no finishers, man. I don't know how you can keep, and we're adding a defensive midfielder. You gotta get somebody who's insatiable in front, who can make a chance for himself. This is the type of game we play every night.
Yeah.
We're hoping to get a 1-0 win.
Now the worst part is that your distributors have been terrible today. Garcia or even Artur at the very end. Like,
Coco's not great in final product if he's high up the field. He's better deep. Everybody, oh, Coco's great, and he is. He puts in a great effort always. All right, everybody, welcome into the Dynamo post-game show here on YouTube Soccer Matters, and we will want your opinions here tonight. Texas Derby match here. It ends up a 1-0 victory. It goes to Austin FC as they walk into Shell Energy Stadium and knock off the Dynamo. The Dynamo go now to 4-3-1. Austin FC now evened out at 500 at 3-3-3, but more importantly for them, it was their first road win of the year. I think we did say in the pregame show, and I said during Soccer Matters on ESPN 97.5 during the week that look, this smells of a 0-0 draw or a 1-0 victory for somebody. It's two teams that are struggling to score goals. It remains the challenge for the Houston Dynamo. They did have a few good looks tonight, but again, it's just not all there in the final third. And then, of course, the game-winning goal comes as a Austin FC 2 player who was brought up for this game, brought on in the second half off a long Brad Stuver goal kick. Hector Herrera, who gets his first minutes of the year off the bench, does not go up in the air. CJ Fadri cuts in front of him, flicks it in behind the Dynamo defense to Emilio Rigoni. Now, Emiliano Rigoni is a DP for Austin FC, has been very, very criticized since he's come there, hasn't lived up to it, hasn't scored goals, but he took this goal fantastic, put it off the far post and in. But if you go back and look at the replay, you will see that Hector Herrera did not elect to go up for the header, and the young Austin FC 2 player Fadri cut in front of him, flicked it, put it in behind the defense, and that led to the game-winning goal. That came in the 86th minute here tonight. So that's how it ends. These are full-time stats here. The Dynamo, 17 shots to only 7 for Austin. 6 on target for the Dynamo, 4 on target for Austin. Dynamo dominate possession, 67%. The game was strange because it only had 3 corners, 2 for Houston and 1 for Austin. But the bizarre thing in this one, I think, is that there's only 3 corners the entire night here. But the Dynamo, in the data department, yeah, they win all the data, but in the end, they lose the game. And you do have to be critical of the sharpness, I think. Not the commitment, but the sharpness. So let's get some of your thoughts if you're out there and you're tuning in. Justin, anything that jumped out to you tonight from this one?
Well, first off, I do want to say, be sure, guys, to like and subscribe to the video. I understand we have some technical difficulties. The Wi-Fi has been really off here. So if the video is a little jittery, that's why. The Dynamo did well early for probably 3/4 of the match, shutting down Driussi. What do you attribute that to?
Well, I think the Dynamo definitely targeted tonight, and that was made very clear by Ben Olsen that in the middle of the field they wanted to cut out Driussi, they wanted to cut out Alex Ring, and they wanted to basically cut out Danny Pereira. I think that worked, quite frankly. I think the Dynamo in the final third, that's really the story of tonight. It was a mistake that led to the game-winning goal. It was a decision that a player just coming back for his first minutes, and one heck of a player, and Hector Herrera, who gets his return, decided not to go up in the air. And in cut Fadri, the Austin FC 2 player, won the header, flicked it on, put in Rigoni, and Rigoni's finish was fantastic. Put it off the far post and in. It was his first goal of the year, and it wins you the 3 points. Takes it out. I don't think Sebastian Driussi had a good night, and I think the Dynamo deserve credit for that. They got a second defender around him. They fouled him. They made life very, very difficult for him. Danny Pereira couldn't jump into the attack. But the Dynamo in the final third, decision-making, quality of their final pass. We saw a number of crosses hit that went out of play with 5 and 6 guys in the box at the end of the game. So quality wasn't there. Scoring goals can mask a lot of things. If you take 2 of your chances here tonight, then you're not talking about a mistake from Hector Herrera that led to the game-winning goal. Now, nobody's going to want to say Hector made a mistake, but listen, these are the things that come along with a player coming back for his first minutes. And you could see his aura and his presence making a difference, but you could also see he's not where he should be, nor should we expect him to be when it comes to a fitness thing. His first touch was a little loose at times. That said, he's Hector Herrera, and you could see the influence he made on the team initially. But yeah, tough night. Get your thoughts in as well. I guess we could jump into, until we get a few more people jumping on the call or on the YouTube stream. Yes, stream. We could take a look at some of the other results around the league. By the way, Inter Miami, you got a couple of goals from Lionel Messi again, so he's got 3 goals in 2 games. All right, here's Texas Longhorn. Says, and this is fair. I do think that the Dynamo do not have the mentality in their front players to shoot. The mentality of the insatiable goal scorer really does not exist enough with Basi, Kowalczyk, Aliu, Coco. It doesn't exist enough. And shots are bypassed. You don't get a lot of shots off. People don't take a chance. People seem to at times pass their responsibility. So Texas Longhorn says, why don't they ever just shoot? Any mistake by the goalkeeper could lead to an easy tap-in. Joel Goldberg, a lot of new players. They were also subpar tonight. Worst part about this game is that Sebas looked like 23 version. Yeah, I'm not sure I'd read a whole lot into that. I'm not sure that's fair. He's just coming back from injury. He's coming back in a game where an opponent's sitting deep. I don't know what he can do. He didn't get any delivery. I mean, the quality of service was terrible, so I don't know what you wanted him to do. He's a center forward that needs delivery and support. It's not easy when, you got a clogged penalty area with the team hanging on with a 1-0 win. So I'm not sure I'm going to pass judgment on him tonight in that one. Here's Jeff. He says, at Soccer Matters GD. Okay, thank you. Brian, you get punished when you can't capitalize chances. That's fair. I think they had a couple of decent looks. Passing looked flat. Yep, I think we made that clear on the broadcast.
I wanted to touch on that because you did bring that up about how I don't necessarily want to use the word sloppy, but it definitely was not crisp tonight.
Yeah, passing was off. It was behind people. The weight of the passes were overhit, underhit. Didn't look sharp. Nick says history repeats itself. Dynamo deserved to lose. Dreadful performance. Dorsey looked, well, I don't think he was drunk, but he was tired. He was gassed.
I do want to get your opinion.
He was
on
gassed.
How you feel Bartlow looked tonight?
He tried to join in the attack. I thought he was okay. I don't think Austin was that dangerous, honestly. They had the one chance with Ring in the first half where they picked him out and he was trailing. It was shot right at Steve Clark. But it's a big shutout for them, for Brad Stuver as well.
He has started. I noticed when I was looking through the notes, Brad Stuver has started in all 116 of his matches played.
He's a clear number 1 in Austin. I don't think he was tested enough. You can go into the press conference now and say, well, we had the chances to win, but you hear that before. Look, this is a Dynamo team that's got to win games 1-0 or close to it, right? They got to win 1-goal games. I don't know when that changes. That can only change if you get an addition in the front positions. And I would say Austin FC is looking for that player too. They're not necessarily lighting it up.
No.
When it comes to scoring goals, although they've scored 14 now. 12 on the year. But tough. It's a tough loss. Tough to lose to your rival. Austin traveled well tonight, so it's their night. They deserve it. It's their night. Really can't think of anything else. We said going into the game, this is about who's the better team at taking chances, and it was one mistake that was capitalized on. It was punished, and to their credit, they take a full 3 points because of it in the 86th minute. So similar to what the Dynamo did to Minnesota. The Dynamo were defending valiantly. Steve Clark played out of his mind in that game, and for a moment there, Sebastian Kowalczyk gets isolated, skins a defender, scores his first ever MLS goal. It's a remarkable goal, and it takes you all 3 points. Now, if Clark doesn't make those saves and you lose 3-1, everybody's complaining. So that shows you the narrow margins you play with, and you just wish you didn't have to play with those narrow margins every game. I mean, you want a game where you got 2 goals, where you can make a mistake and it's not going to cost you a full 3 points, right?
We do have a couple on the chat.
All right, here we go.
Josh made me more homework than Ben did for defense. Rashawn also says Aliou and especially Dorsey had not had good touches today. Dave really liking these pre and post game insights.
All right, thank you, Dave.
Appreciate that. Scroll that up a little bit so I can see it. We absolutely dominated every other stat, but you got to put the ball in the back of the net.
Probably could have told you that was going to happen before the game. I don't think that's any real revelation. I think it's, as Led Zeppelin would say, maybe the same old song and dance. Nobody's complaining because the Dynamo got good results. You got Hector Herrera on the field. But I would think that's got to be a pretty disappointing coach, staff, and a locker room tonight. It's really easy to say, oh, it's not a big deal. We're 4-3-1. We've gotten points. Dynamo are 2-2-1 now at home. They got a good road record, 2-1. They go to FC Dallas next weekend, then they're home to St. Louis, and then they're back in the Open Cup against Detroit City FC, which is going to be fun. I'm glad the Dynamo are in the Open Cup. But we saw this last year too. We said it in a lot of games. The Dynamo have most of the ball. They get the final third entries. All these wonderful pieces of data, which if you're using your eyes, you saw it tonight. The Dynamo were going to win these categories. What point are you going to cash in on positive data and take what are your just desserts? And that is wins and more goals. That's the point. That remains still a question. The Dynamo added Mackenzie Gaines. He's not a noted goal scorer, but he is an athlete and a penetrator as far as the way he can run and the pace. I don't know if he's magically going to turn into a big goal scorer, but it's goal scoring by committee. And the last time somebody won MLS Cup by goal scoring by committee, it was, I believe, the Colorado Rapids under Gary Smith. That was quite some time ago. Bouanga, Cucho, Chicho, Vela. These are the guys that can get you over the hump. These are the guys that can take pressure off you and score goals at times when you need them or maybe you don't expect them. So, I think it's the same thing. There's always going to be positives you can take out of a game, but this wasn't the sharpest Dynamo effort if we're really being honest here.
Hopefully they can get a nice spark under him heading into Dallas, who currently is losing right now, and they only have 1 win on the season.
Technicolor, you know what? That's nice. Technicolor goes, thank you. Chivalry's not dead. I like that. Thank you, Technicolor. Mike P., we had 2 more subs to make. Let's see, who do we bring in? We brought on...
I have horrible handwriting.
Where's the Dynamo?
We brought in Tate Schmidt, Ferrer, and Herrera.
Yeah. Didn't use them all. I don't know, who else would you have brought on? I mean, you trust the coach. You don't make subs for the sake of making them just because you have 5. You make them because you think you can do it. Technicolor said Seba makes me sad. Well, let's see. He's just coming off injury. I don't know what more you can ask of him tonight, really. Maybe he could have been a little bit more aggressive. He's had 2 injuries. I think the fact that he came out of the game without getting an injury is a good thing. But again, the delivery from wide was not good. The final ball in the final third was not good. I think there was one time the Dynamo had 5 or 6 players in the box at the end of the game. And, the cross gets ballooned 15 rows behind the goal. You have to give Sebas... You want Sebas Ferreira to be effective for you, he has to have delivery. He has to have something to attack. And he's got to have a wide game so you can pull center backs off. And he came into a game that these guys were defending deep in.
Here's one of your favorite things, Glenn. Somebody won $800 on that Austin goal. Betting.
Is that right? Wow. Where are we going to dinner? Invite me. I'm ready. 8 bills. You can get a pit ticket to the Rolling Stones maybe if you wait long enough.
Be right next to you.
Chapito says absolutely pathetic. Anybody going to the Rolling Stones concert? Anybody interested? Chapito was not happy with the performance. Technicolor says very true.
It was a lackluster performance given to.
Yeah, this wasn't a great night. I mean, come on, guys. I mean, you can spin this any way you want. I mean, just too many things were off tonight. Schmidt not great offensively. Hasn't played a lot lately. Playing on the right side. I know he's kind of two-footed. But yeah, I mean, a lot of the delivery. This booth that we're in right now, like I can turn you around and show you where we are. So we see a lot of play right in front of us, and we saw a lot of the delivery from right down in front of us here. That went. Well, I just.
No, I think you're.
Whole thing down.
No, I think you're good. Hold on. We're
Still-
back. There we
okay.
go.
This is why I don't touch the computer, and Justin Finger does. But we saw a lot of delivery that didn't hit good areas. Bassi and Kowalczyk, I think, were busy. They were trying to make it happen. Just didn't really come off tonight. Anything else from anybody out there? I want to remind you, Soccer Matters is 6 o'clock Central Time on Mondays and Wednesdays. I got a lot of great guests coming up this week. On this show, remember, it's drive home. So if you're driving home from work, please tune in. The numbers are important. We had a boatload of callers talking about the UEFA Champions League in the last one. You got you got the El Clasico tomorrow between Real Madrid and Barcelona. So they're quickly back into a big match like that. That's a great view, great stream. Keep it up. Okay, as long as you guys keep coming, we'll keep it going. Why the inaccurate passing after 2 months? Lack of focus. Yeah, I don't know. These guys seem to be a pretty focused group. I think there are nights where it just doesn't work. I mean, there's not always a perfect rhyme and reason, I mean, when I played professionally, I thought I had weeks I prepared better than I ever prepared, and then came out and didn't have the best of games, and then I had games where I didn't feel very good, and they ended up being my better games. So I don't know. That's a tricky thing for the professional athlete. I think what we know about the Dynamo that we will get every night is consistent effort, and they don't give a lot of goals up. I think those are two things that the Dynamo hang their hat on right now. But tonight, it still remains. How do you unlock the goal-scoring potential? Same question we had all year last year. It worked fine until we ran into LAFC, and if you remember in that game when the Dynamo were eliminated, they were not dangerous at all that night. Could not break down LAFC. So, Chapito, I'm happy with Ben, but there needs to be more training and adjustments in game. Austin was an easy win. Sit back and counter, that's all. How the hell are we going to lose to Rigoni? Well, I mean, what were the other adjustments you want? Are you saying Austin was sitting back and countering, or is that what you wanted the Dynamo to do? But you said there needs to be more adjustments. Well, what are those adjustments? I got to think they're working on their final third play, Chapito. I think it's more about personnel, to be honest with you. I don't think there's legitimate goal scorers in the front part of the Dynamo team. So it makes it tough. I mean, we don't have a guy that picks a ball up and beats one or two guys and scores a goal. It doesn't happen. We don't have one of these predatory finishers. The hope is it's going to be Sebas Ferreira from Form 3 years ago. 9 people, the weight of the passes. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, sometimes the answer to and solutions come in the form of a player. And I know Dynamo fans have said, well, how come we aren't, going after more attacking players? Okay. So Chapito's saying the Dynamo should have sit back and countered. Okay. Well, you got one real vertical guy if you wanted to counter, but I think Austin FC was pretty resigned to sit in the mid-block. I don't think they were going to be teased out of that. Technicolor says, thank you again, Glenn. Always put your call on when I catch our home games on Season Pass. You're a gem. I'll catch you on SM. Thank you so much for that. That's the kind of stuff that makes me just love what I do. I mean, things are changing in my career, but I will tell you, these are the things that I really like. So, those are the things you go home and I wouldn't know Technicolor if I walked up to him, and I don't think but to hear him make the effort to say something like that, these are things I cherish, and this is really ultimately why I've been doing this for 27 years, and I don't want to give up, but I'll know when it is time.
You got a lot of years left in you.
Anybody else? Well, if I was like the New York Yankees guy, I can go till I'm 85, which I'm not sure I want to. One, I'm not even sure I want to live till I'm 85. We'll see. But I do have a 98-year-old mother, so I may be stuck here for a while, I guess.
We need a biopic first before that.
I think if
happens,
I get over 90 and I'm still doing soccer talk, that would be crazy.
That would
be crazy if you can even get to 90.
Yeah.
Well, I'm 88. I got 2 years. I'll be there.
Well, Cam has rejoined the chat.
Cam, you back?
Our Austin FC native.
All right, it's an amazing match for you, Cam.
Texas's Verde.
Cam, are you shocked that your game winner came from Emiliano Rigoni? Chapito says adjustments as in, hey, this is happening in this particular game. Our guys aren't particularly great in possessing against this team, so let's capitalize in our transition game. Well, I think they tried to hit Aliu. I don't think there's any question. He really is the lone target that would be hit in transition. I don't think it's Bassi. I don't think it on a night like tonight was Kowalczyk. It was in the other game in Minnesota because they committed everybody forward at that point. But yeah, I think they did a very good job on Aliu. They got a second defender over there all the time. I think they did the same thing, the Dynamo to Obrian. I think the two vertical threats today were cut out by good defending. I think Sebastian Driussi was taken out of the game. He was targeted. You fouled him a few times. He wasn't comfortable. He never got his head up really, and he never really was an influence in this game.
He says absolutely. I mean, actually unbelievable. To look on his face, he was shocked.
He was shocked. Oh wow. Well, you got to give Fadri, the young academy guy, this is a significant moment in his career, probably the most significant moment. I've watched him with Austin too. Played very well against Dynamo 2 in a win. He scored in that game. That's something that a young player is going to build off. But if you go back to that play, Cam, and you can go back and look at it tonight, and you will see that Hector Herrera didn't attack the ball off the long ball, and Fadri just nips in front of him and flicks it, puts it in behind the Dynamo defense, and guess who picks it up? Rigoni, and he scores.
I do want to get your thought on this. They definitely shut down Aliu. I don't think Aliu is the answer long term, though. Credit to Austin. I expect more from Benny Ball. How do you feel about that?
Aliu is
maybe
I think
not
Aliu has to be balanced with somebody else, and I mean, let's hope that's Sebas Ferreira. You have to have threat. I mean, I think it's easy to shut down Aliu because everybody knows he's the lone real vertical threat for the Houston Dynamo, right? I mean, give the guy a little bit of a break. He's a burgeoning talent, but they had a second defender around him all night long, so it's very hard for him to penetrate and leave people. Plus, he is an inverted winger, Chapito, which means the Dynamo want to be narrow when they lose the ball. They don't want to pull out their wingers. They don't want to widen the game out and attempt to pull the other team out because they don't want to sacrifice the narrow game so that when you lose the ball, you're right there to prevent a team from really getting forward quickly on you, and you can get maybe immediate pressure on it if you repress, win the ball, and get shots off. So
I'm Cool D. He's actually tuning in from New York.
Oh wow!
Yeah, the $800 winner.
Manhattan or in the great state of New Jersey? He's New York. Rigoni, Jersey. He's laughing. Well, I mean, what's that going to drop? 150 to get that? You still got
like $175 now.
Okay, if it's 175, you still got a good cool 625. I mean, 21 club. There's places you can go.
David says the league has figured out Dorsey. What's the next move for him getting more chances?
Well, I think that's fair because he kind of surprised people with his width from that side of the field. I think it was tough for him tonight because they were pretty immovable. He got down the right side a lot. He got up and down. He was gassed because he was right in front of us. He was very, very he was exhausted. I don't remember the one play where Coco played a ball forward. He thought Dorsey was going to power in there, and Dorsey was just, breathing so heavily because of all the running he was doing. I think last year when he broke onto the scene, there was an element of surprise, but I also thought last year he had really polished his final pass, his delivery, cut in, scored a few goals, and I think people do know the tendencies of the Dynamo. They have a couple of things that are pretty obvious that everybody's going to target. One is Dorsey essentially playing as a midfielder because he gets forward, the center back slides over, right? Everybody knows he's going to come from late, and everybody knows that Aliu's your vertical thing. So I think the Dynamo are going to have to go to the drawing board to figure out, once they get Herrera back, if Sebas Ferreira comes good, how this can be a better goal-scoring team. That still remains the question. So we can sit here 3 months from now, and I'm going to tell you, it'll still be a good defending team. It'll still be a good possession team, which will only get better when Hector Herrera's back. But look, I mean, you may have to take some risk, and you may have to move off the narrow defending thing if you want to become a better goal-scoring team. That's why they pay Ben Olsen and his staff the big bucks. What else we got?
You want me to rifle off some of these scores?
Yeah, teams are starting to do it against Messi. Well, I thought Messi won tonight.
He did. He had 2 goals and a 3-1 win over Nashville.
I'm Coldy. I would only say this about Messi. A man can only do so much, right? They're trying to put this guy out as much as possible to monetize him in however long he's going to remain in Major League Soccer. He's got 3 goals in 2 games. They'll make the playoffs. They got caught cold by Monterrey. Listen, I'm glad the guy's in the league. I like the humility of the guy. I think it's added excitement to the league. I'm sure Apple's happy about it. I only wish he was coming here to play the Dynamo so the Dynamo could cash in on a full stadium. Yeah. But he is coming to Houston to play with Inter Miami against Tigres because this is Tigres country. So there you go.
Geppetto understood. Someone argued me before that we don't want to risk winning at.
Well, I just explained that. The Dynamo
at the expense of
Dynamo prioritize defending collectively, and they prioritize possession, right? So they play a very narrow game with inverted wingers, which a lot of teams do, and the inverted wingers are generally cutting inside. So they're tight and they're narrow, and then they try to get a little bit of width from Griffin Dorsey on the right side. But the thing is, that's great when you lose the ball because you're positioned well defensively to get it back. You're not opened up. Teams have to kind of go around you, which allows you times to adjust and move the shape of your team in relation where the ball goes. If you got a wide game and you lose the ball and you're trying to spread an opponent out, then you quickly have to go central. It's a little bit different, and I don't think Ben Olsen wants to pull off of that.
And the rain has finally moved in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'll rifle off some of these scores for us real quick. Cincinnati 2-1 over Atlanta in Atlanta. 2-2 draw between Montreal and Orlando. Columbus 2-2 draw over Portland. Messi and company.
Wait. 2-2 draw is a 2-2 draw. Nobody's over anybody.
You're right. Yeah. Trying to read these quick.
I'm messing with you. We're just having fun.
Inter Miami 3-1 winners over Nashville. Messi with 2 and Busquets with the other. NYCFC 2-0 winners over DC United. Toronto FC 1-0 winner over New England. RSL taking it to Chicago in Chicago for 4-0.
I don't rate Chicago. They're not going to make the playoffs unless they do something. New England's struggling big time under Caleb Porter. Supposedly now there's a new stadium going to be in downtown Boston. Yeah, I won't hold my breath.
No, but I'm excited.
How many years
to see
they've been saying that? Come on.
Yeah.
Maybe it's for real this time. I also thought I heard that the Crafts were going to sell the New England Patriots. Is that true?
Yes, I saw that somewhere. I don't want to
listen. Anybody who was saying they were going to build a stadium downtown.
If you've ever been to Boston, there's not a whole lot of space.
Okay, because the Crafts own Patriot Place, which is a bunch of stores that are leased out. So they want as many dates in Foxborough as possible. Okay, and Foxborough is not near Boston. If anybody's ever been there, now it is a World Cup site.
What is it, about 45 minutes outside of Boston?
I used to do, when I would call games there, I would sometimes stay at the airport because it was a shorter drive. There's no sense in staying in downtown Boston, especially if you weren't going to be there.
The new NYCFC stadium, that is actually true.
Yeah, that's happening.
The city approved it. I think it came out this week or last week that it got approved. It's going to be right next to, what is it, Citi Field? Right next to Citi Field.
Yep, where the Mets played. I once called a game there, Juventus and Club America.
Wow.
Let me just say something here to I Am Coldy. I Am Coldy, what part of Long Island? My mother was from Garden City. And my father went to school out there. It's going to be sick. I'm hyped. Good for you.
If you've seen the renditions, it's going to be a beautiful looking stadium.
Oh, yeah. Well, listen, I mean, that was rough. I mean, that's a rough watching the games from Yankee Stadium. I mean,
Tony, I'm going to hit on that right before I finish reading off all these scores. Geppetto says Chicago's making the playoffs this year. I don't think so. I think the Union will have something to say about that.
Geppetto, we could put a bet on that one. I mean, somebody better wake Shaqiri up because, I don't know, man.
Sporting KC, St. Louis played it with 3-3 draw. Dallas down 2-0 right now to Colorado in the 74th minute.
And that's the next Dynamo opponent is at Dallas.
They only have one win on the season.
Yeah, they're struggling.
New York Red Bulls are winning 1-0 over LAFC in LA. They're in the 36th minute. Currently, Seattle and Vancouver 0-0 right now in the 36th. The Dash are losing right now 2-1 over the Portland Thorns in the 52nd minute.
Tough environment there on the
Ordonez with a goal. Sinclair and
good
Smith.
for Diana Ordonez. I hope she's playing as a center forward tonight and not in that hybrid role, pull back. I mean, she needs to be in the box where the ball is ultimately going to come. That's why he says, I'm from Bethpage. I'm 15 minutes from Garden City. Matter of fact, my wife works there. Small world, great show. First time I ever tuned in. I will be more. Don't forget, I'm Coldy because, so I grew up in New Jersey, and you can stream the live radio show every Monday night. It's 6 Central. That would be 7 Central your time. But we talk about a lot of things. We get European guests on.
Just Google 97.5 Houston. You can find the stream right there. Or if you can't listen to the show live, you have it on where you get all your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Google.
All right, last call for anybody. Anything else anybody wants? By the way, LamontBrands.com. I have these Soccer Matters T-shirts. They all go to the 501c charity called Snowdrop Foundation, which is for pediatric cancer scholarships and awareness. So if you're interested in them, check them out. They're cool. They're really light cotton. And that's it. Anybody got any last thoughts?
I do want to give a quick shout out if you're okay with it. I do want to say happy birthday to my daughter Charlotte. She is turning 3 tomorrow.
All right, Charlotte.
It flies by. She's in
Edson, come on.
Yeah.
Here's our buddy. This is our buddy Edson. He did a podcast for many years down in the Rio Grande Valley and did it. He wasn't he was bringing real opinion, which we always liked up here in Houston. So thanks, Edson. Edson was in the booth tonight. Where was Smith? Yeah, that's a good point. Emilio, Brad Smith down the left side might have brought something. Yeah, that's a really good call. Good night, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in. You make this very enjoyable. As long as you want to keep doing this, we'll keep doing it. I thank you very much. Happy birthday to Charlotte. That's very nice, Cam. Charlotte is definitely cuteness extraordinaire. I would say that. Thanks, everybody.
Don't forget to plug it.
Okay. Twitter and Instagram at Glenn Davis Sock. Facebook Soccer Matters.
Yep.
Right
Twitter
here.
Soccer Matters.
If you're here and you haven't subscribed, just click the subscribe button. It means a lot. And then Monday and Wednesday, 6 o'clock Central Time, we got radio. Okay?
All right. Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Good night, everyone. Thank you for your contributions. Great stuff.